Welcome back to the battle between Nekron versus Odin. Determining the winner of a battle between the Lord of the Unliving Nekron and the All-Father Odin is a tremendously challenging task. Both stand at the pinnacle of the power hierarchy within their respective universes, yet the nature of their power differs in a fundamental way. On one side is the supreme deity who has shaped realities themselves, and on the other is an eternal entity that represents the end of all realities. Before we dive deep into the analysis, please remember to subscribe to the channel to support me, and thank you so very much. With that said, let us begin. First, Nekron, Lord of the Unliving. Nekron is not your typical villain with schemes to dominate the world. He is the living embodiment of death itself within the DC universe, the ruler of the realm of the unliving, a dark and silent dimension where unreleased souls reside. As the Lord of the Unliving, Nekron exists as a primordial force, representing the moment before the universe was born and the moment after it ends, an endless void of absolute darkness. His existence is bound to the death of every living creature, and his power grows in direct proportion to the number of souls that have passed on. His abilities include the following. As the Lord of the Unliving, Nekron possesses nearly absolute authority within his own dimension. He does not have a true physical body, but is instead a pure energy entity, often taking the form of a death figure wielding a scythe. This renders him immune to virtually all physical and conventional energy-based attacks. His power is immense, sufficient to single-handedly confront and overpower the entire Green Lantern Corps, those who possess the strongest willpower in the universe. He has effortlessly defeated and killed veteran Green Lanterns, and even the Guardians of the Universe themselves. During the Blackest Night event, he transformed every deceased superhero and supervillain into undying Black Lantern warriors under his control, pushing the entire DC universe to the brink of annihilation. He is capable of manipulating souls, corpses, and the very energy of death. Nekron can drain life force from his opponents, and a single touch from him is enough to sap the vitality of anyone he reaches. His ability to manipulate reality within his sphere of influence is vast, allowing him to bend space, time, and the laws of physics at will. The most core and decisive weakness of Nekron is that he cannot exist in the presence of pure life. He is bound to death itself. This means he cannot freely enter the world of the living, unless a gateway or a massive death event opens the way for him. The white light of life, the embodiment of creation, is his absolute natural enemy. He was once defeated by the entity of life when it chose a host. An attack carrying the energy of life itself can permanently damage or even destroy him. He is also vulnerable to the powerful emotions that are bound to life itself, especially when they combine to generate the white light. Now we move on to Odin, the All-Father of Asgard. Odin Borson is the All-Father of the Asgardian gods, the father of Thor, and one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe. He is not merely a god of war and wisdom, but a cosmic entity at the Skyfather level, one who holds the power to shape and alter civilizations, dimensions, and even the flow of time itself. His abilities include the following. The power of Odin, also known as the Odin Force, is a boundless divine energy source, the crystallization of his own might, that of his two brothers, Vili and Ve, and the combined strength of all fallen Asgardian gods. The Odin Force fuels all of his superhuman capabilities, making him one of the most powerful beings to have ever existed. With the Odin Force, Odin can manipulate energy on a near-limitless scale. He can unleash energy blasts, capable of destroying galaxies, erect impenetrable defensive barriers, teleport instantaneously across interdimensional distances, and manipulate molecules to transform matter at will. In the domain of time manipulation, Odin has demonstrated the ability to stop time, rewind time, and even travel across different points in history. Among his greatest feats is the creation and destruction of entire dimensions and stars during cosmic battles. Physically, as a Skyfather, Odin possesses physical strength that far surpasses Thor at his base level, enough to shake the very foundations of reality. He has divine durability and regenerative capabilities that allow him to survive damage that would fell even other gods. As the god of wisdom, Odin has the ability to perceive the future, become aware of events on a cosmic scale, and grasp hidden truths. He is a great strategist and tactician, having led Asgard through countless wars against powerful forces, such as Surtur and the Elder Gods. However, the power of Odin is not without its weaknesses. The Odin Force is not passively infinite. It requires him to enter the Odin sleep periodically in order to regenerate and restore his strength. During this time, he is extremely vulnerable. Furthermore, overuse of the Odin Force for great feats can deplete his power more rapidly, forcing him into the Odin sleep sooner than expected. He is also bound by ancient magical oaths and rules, and at times his own pride and complex schemes can work against him.
The verdict. First and foremost, we have two entities whose power operates at a reality-shaping level. On one side is the embodiment of death and primordial darkness, and on the other is the supreme deity of life, light, and magic. On the surface, this appears to be a classic confrontation between two opposing forces. Nekron's power is absolute within his own realm of the unliving. It is a dimension where he himself defines the laws. If Odin were somehow dragged into Nekron's domain, the battle would tilt heavily in favor of the Lord of the Unliving. There, Odin could be stripped of the majority of his power and reduced to just another lost soul. However, Odin is not a passive entity. With the Odin Force, he has the ability to traverse and manipulate dimensions freely and proactively. He can seal gateways, expel enemies from his own dimension, and protect himself from being banished to other realms. In a direct confrontation, Odin would never be foolish enough to step into Nekron's domain. Instead, he would fight in a neutral reality or within Asgard itself, where his power is supreme. This is an enormously significant tactical advantage. Unlike many of Nekron's opponents who are confined to a single plane of reality, Odin can anticipate the threat and proactively choose the battlefield, neutralizing Nekron's crucial home advantage. Nekron's power draws from the very concept of death itself. He grows stronger through death and reigns over all that is past. However, Odin, as the All-Father of the gods of life, is himself an embodiment of the very power that Nekron fears most. The Odin Force, and more broadly his strength, is intimately connected to vitality, light, and the creative energy of the universe. He is not an immortal entity in the manner of a zombie or undead creature. He is a living god, with divine life force flowing through him. Odin's strikes are not merely energy or physical in nature. They carry the essence of divine power and ancient magic, things that can wound an abstract entity such as Nekron. More importantly, within his arsenal, Odin also possesses the destructive power of the life force and the ability to manipulate the energy of life itself. He has used these powers before to confront and defeat other cosmic entities. Nekron has no answer to a strike of pure white light of life, and this is precisely the type of energy that a Skyfather like Odin can harness. Such a strike would not only wound Nekron, but would also attack the very foundation of his existence. The fatal weakness of Nekron versus the versatility of Odin. Nekron is an entity with a single weakness, one that is clear and exploitable. He is like a machine programmed for one purpose alone. Odin, on the other hand, is a god of wisdom and war. He is a strategist with millennia of experience fighting all manner of enemies, from interdimensional invaders to magical and cosmic entities. He would not simply charge headlong into a pure contest of strength. He would study his opponent, identify the weakness, and deliver a decisive blow. Nekron's lack of flexibility is a fatal disadvantage. He is more of a natural force than a warrior with conscious tactical thinking. While Nekron seeks to expand his darkness methodically, Odin can use his power to forge weapons or traps designed specifically to counter him. He could use magic to summon or create a source of pure life energy, or even harness the very life force of Asgardian warriors to unleash a devastating counterstrike against Nekron, much in the same way the entity of life once did. Nekron simply does not possess the magical and tactical versatility to contend with a complex plan devised by an All-Father. Of course, we must consider the counter-arguments. Some may argue that because Nekron is the embodiment of death, an absolute concept that will ultimately come for all things, including gods, he will eventually prevail. This holds true from a philosophical standpoint. However, within the Marvel Universe, death is also a cosmic entity, and Skyfathers, like Odin, have on numerous occasions bargained, negotiated with, and even challenged that very entity. They are not simply mortal beings waiting to die. They exist at a level where absolute laws can be bent or delayed indefinitely. Another argument is that Nekron could summon an army of Black Lanterns, including fallen Asgardians. This would be a powerful psychological warfare tactic. Witnessing fallen comrades rise up to fight against you is a terrifying ordeal, but once again, Odin is the ruler of Hell, the realm of the dead for Asgardians. He holds power over the souls of his own people. An outside entity attempting to manipulate Asgardian souls right in front of the All-Father is an affront that Odin would answer with the full extent of his power. It is highly likely that he could simply liberate their souls from Nekron's control, or worse for Nekron, turn that very power against him. The battle begins in a neutral space between dimensions. Nekron immediately radiates a wave of death energy, withering all life around him and attempting to drain Odin's life force. Odin, shielded by the blazing aura of the Odin force, does not waver in the slightest. He raises his spear Gungnir and unleashes a massive torrent of divine energy. Nekron easily absorbs or deflects it, mockingly declaring that darkness will swallow all light. But that was merely a probing strike. Odin, through his all-seeing eyes, has already seen through the true nature of his opponent. He realizes that he cannot destroy death through brute force alone. Instead, he begins to chant an ancient incantation, a language that existed before the universe itself was born. The space around them begins to shift. Odin is not attacking Nekron directly. He is altering the very environment itself. He summons the very concept of life, filling that dimension with a source of creative energy so pure that its very presence becomes a torment to Nekron. The Lord of the Unliving roars in fury, attempting to snuff out that light with his darkness. But Odin's light is not merely light, it is the warmth of a newborn sun, the vitality of a forest bursting into bloom, the first beat of a living heart. It is everything that Nekron is not and can never be. Pushed back and wounded at a conceptual level by an environment fundamentally hostile to his very existence, Nekron is forced to retreat to his realm of the unliving. The battle ends not with the destruction of Nekron, but in a tactical stalemate, one where Odin has successfully defended his reality from the encroachment of darkness. To destroy Nekron completely, Odin would likely need to sacrifice a great portion of his own power, but in a direct confrontation with the goal of defending or attacking, Odin holds every card necessary to claim victory. Although Nekron is one of the most fearsome entities in DC Comics, a primordial force representing the inevitable end, when faced with Odin, he confronts an opponent who not only possesses comparable raw power, but also superior versatility, wisdom, and the ability to manipulate concepts at a higher level. Nekron's weakness to life is a limitation far too significant and far too obvious, and it is precisely the target that a master tactician and sorcerer like Odin would exploit to the fullest. Nekron is absolute darkness, but Odin Borson, the All-Father of Asgard, is the blazing star capable of burning through that eternal night. Therefore, in my view, Odin will be the victor in this battle. Let me know what you all think in the comments section below. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and thank you all so very much.